They paved over my chicken coop while I was at work, so I made their streets completely impassable for 2 months. I came home from my shift at the power plant to find asphalt where my chicken coop used to be. 20 laying hens, gone. The hand-built roost my daughter and I spent a summer constructing, buried under fresh blacktop. A fluorescent notice was stapled to my fence. Livestock structures removed per health ordinance violations. My chickens weren't just pets, they were my late wife's project, something she started when the cancer treatments made her too weak to work. She named every bird, kept journals about their personalities. After she passed, I kept them going. It was my way of keeping her close. The HOA president, Mitchell, a pharmaceutical sales rep who'd never touched dirt in his life, claimed my chickens were a health hazard. Never mind that I had kept them for 8 years without a single complaint until his precious Willowbrook estates expanded to border my property. When I confronted him, he was washing his Tesla in his driveway. "Chickens don't belong in a residential area," he said without looking up. "We did you a favor. Now you can use that space for proper landscaping." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the buried coop, about my wife's handwriting on those feed schedules still tacked to my barn wall. Then I remembered something she'd told me once. The thing about bullies is they never check what's under their feet. I pulled out the old property maps from 1952. Willowbrook Estates was built on reclaimed swampland. The developer had installed a complex drainage system with underground pumps to keep the water table low, and those pumps, they pulled power from a utility box that sat on the edge of my property, installed back when my uncle sold them a tiny strip of land for utilities access. But that agreement had expired 3 years ago. I'd been letting them use it out of neighborly courtesy. Not anymore. The next morning, I padlocked the utility box and disconnected the main breaker. Within 48 hours, the streets started showing wet spots. Within a week, puddles formed at every intersection. After 2 weeks, the water table rose high enough that their pristine asphalt began cracking and buckling. Mitchell called threatening legal action. I reminded him that using my power without permission was theft of utilities. The city engineer confirmed the subdivision's drainage was their responsibility, not mine. By week 3, sinkholes opened up. Small at first, then large enough to swallow traffic cones. The main road through Willowbrook looked like Swiss cheese. Residents had to navigate their own streets like an obstacle course. Week 4 brought the insurance adjusters. Turns out, building on swampland without proper drainage maintenance voids most policies' repair estimates, hit 7 figures. Finally, Mitchell and the entire HOA board showed up at my door. They offered to rebuild my chicken coop, better than before, climate-controlled even. Plus compensate me for the chicken's emotional distress and sign a permanent utility access agreement at premium rates. I accepted, but added one condition. Mitchell personally had to help me build the new coop and tend the chickens for 1 month. Now I have the fanciest chicken coop in 3 counties, and Mitchell knows exactly what it takes to gather eggs every morning at 5 a.m. My wife would have laughed herself silly watching him chase hens in his designer sneakers. They thought chickens didn't belong in a residential area. Turns out, neither did their streets without my power supply. And subscribe if you believe in poultry justice.